Hello and welcome to today's session on Introduction to Commodity and Currency Derivative Trading. I am Dr. Maruf Ahmed Mir, PhD in Financial Markets and MBA in Finance and Accounts from AMU Aligarh. And at present, I am associated with Asian Business School, Noida as Associate Professor in the area of Finance and Accounts. So, dear students, today we will discuss about the commodity and currency trading. So, let us start the introduction to commodity markets, and then we will discuss about currency derivatives towards the later half. First, we will discuss about the history of commodity trading. Commodity trading is as old as human civilization and one of the earliest economic pursuits of mankind. Over the centuries, commodity trading has evolved from barter system to spot markets to derivatives markets. In barter system, goods were exchanged between two parties with matching and opposite needs. For example, bags of wheat were exchanged for cattle. So, over a period of time, commodities brought from distant places were exchanged for gold and silver. With the introduction of money as a medium of exchange, there was a paradigm shift in commodity trading, with the value of commodity being expressed in monetary terms, and trading in commodities was conducted mainly through the medium of currency. Commodity spot market evolved in many places, and the counterparties met at these common places where the goods were brought for immediate sale and delivery at the marketplace, decided by the demand and supply forces. In commodity spot markets, traders sell goods such as rice for immediate delivery against cash. At some stage, counterparties started entering into agreement to deliver commodities, for example wheat, at a specific time in future at a price agreed today. These agreements came to be known as forward contracts. For example, let us say on May 25th, a trader agreed to sell rice or deliver on a future specific date, say 1 month from 25th May, that is 25th June. Irrespective of the actual price prevailing on 25th June. So, these forward contracts more often than not were not honored by either of the contracting parties due to price change and market conditions. A seller pulled out of the contract if the spot price was more profitable for him than the contracted price. Similarly, a buyer also backed out from executing the contract on maturity if he was able to get the commodity at a cheaper price from the spot market. Futures emerged as an alternative financial products to address these concerns of counterparty default, as the exchange guaranteed the performance of the contract in case of futures. The contract of commodities being traded gradually got standardized in terms of quantity and the quality over the period of time. The contracts also began to change hands before the delivery date. For instance, if the buyer of a wheat contract decided that he does not want the wheat, he would sell the contract to someone who needed it. Also, if a farmer did not want to deliver his wheat, he would pass on his contractual obligation to another farmer. The price of the contract would increase or decrease depending on what was happening in the wheat market. Gradually, when those individuals who had no intention to ever buying or selling wheat began trading in the future contract, expecting to make more profit by betting on their expectations, they were called as speculators. They bought contracts with an expectation of selling them later at a price higher than their purchase price, or they sold the contracts in advance with an expectation of buying them later at a price lower than their sale price. This is how the future market in commodity developed. The hedgers, in this case the producers of the commodity or farmers, began to efficiently transfer their market risk of holding physical commodity to these speculators by trading at a future exchange. Students, let's now discuss the evolution of commodity exchanges, organized commodities exchanges, which have a long history. Commodity futures trading first started in Japan, and the first known organized futures market was Osaka Rice Exchange, set up in 1730. In the 17th century, Osaka emerged as the major trading center for rice in Japan. At that time, rice played an important role in the economy as rice was the main agricultural commodity. Rice from all over the country was sent to Osaka and stored there. It was sold by way of auctions, and once deals were done, the sellers issued a certificate of title in exchange for money. The certificates were called rice bills. In the early stage, the rice bills were issued upon making a good faith deposit, which was directly and fully paid after the auction with delivery of rice within a short period. Merchants could hold the bills or could sell them expecting to make a quick profit within the defined period. However, as the market developed, the deposits shrank and the delivery dates extended. The rice bills represented the right to take up delivery of an agreed quantity of rice at a future date, but at a current price. This was the precursor to futures. The Chicago Board of Trade (CBOT) in USA and the London Metal Exchange (LME) in UK successfully launched their operations in 1848 and 1877 respectively. Many more exchanges were created in the next few decades in different countries of the world such as Argentina, China, Egypt, Russia, Hungary, Turkey and India. After 1990s, with market liberalization and explosive growth in information technology, commodity exchanges started mushrooming around the world. Now students, moving on, we will discuss now the history of commodities trading in India. History of commodity trading in India dates back to several centuries. Forward trading in animal, agriculture products and metals are believed to have existed in ancient India, and references to such markets appears in Kautilya's Arthasatra. Terms relating to commerce such as Teji, Mandi, Gali, Pathak have been coined and freely used as early as 320 BC. However, organized trading in commodity derivatives started in India in 1875 by the Bombay Cotton Trading Association Limited, with cotton as the underlying commodity. A few years later, Gujarati Vyapari Mandali was set up, which started trading in castor seed, groundnuts and cotton. In the year 1919, the Calcutta Hussain Exchange was set up, which started trading in raw jute and jute goods. Subsequently, many other commodity derivatives trading centers emerged across the country in the places such as Hapur, Amritsar, Bathinda, Rajkot, Jaipur, Delhi, etc. Due to the reasons such as speculation, hoarding, wars and national disasters, several controls were placed on trading of certain commodities from time to time. In 1919, the government of Bombay passed the Bombay Contract Control War Provision Act and set up the Cotton Contract Board with an aim to restrict speculative activities in cotton market. The government of Bombay issued an ordinance in September 1939 prohibiting options trading in cotton, which was later replaced by the Bombay Options in Cotton Prohibition Act 1939. Students, in 1943, the Defence of India Act was passed for the purpose of prohibiting forward trading in some commodities like spices, vegetable oil, sugar, cloth, etc., and regulating such trading in others in all India basis. These orders were retained with the necessary modification in the Essential Supplies Temporary Power Act 1946 after the Defence Act had lapsed. After independence, the Constitution of India placed the subject of stock exchange and futures market in the Union list, and therefore the responsibility for regulation of forward contracts developed on the Government of India. The Parliament passed the Forward Contract Regulation Act in 1952 to regulate the forward contracts in commodities across the country. The Forward Contract Regulation Act, called as FCRA 1952, was repealed and regulation of commodity derivatives market was shifted to the Securities and Exchange Board of India, called as SEBI, under Securities Contracts Regulation Act SCRA 1956, with effect from 28th of September 2015. Commodity trading in India Exchange has reached a sophisticated level. The exchanges offer electronic trading platforms for buyers and sellers to manage their price risks better and to improve the marketing of their physical products. This has made the commodity sector more efficient and competitive. Globally, exchange traded commodity derivatives have emerged as an investment product often used by the institutional investors, hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds besides retail investors. There has been a growing sophistication of commodities investments with the introduction of exotic products such as weather derivatives, power derivatives and environmental emissions trading like carbon credit trading. Now we will discuss about spot and derivatives trading in commodities. Students, commodities can be traded in both the spot market as well as the derivatives, which is forward and futures. Although the two markets are different in terms of time of delivery and other terms of trade, they are interrelated. The commodities are physically bought or sold on a negotiated basis in the spot market, whereas intermediate delivery takes place. The physical markets for commodities deals in cash, spot, transactions for ready delivery and payments. There are two main types of commodities that trade in the spot and derivatives market. Number one is soft commodities. These are the perishable agricultural products such as corn, wheat, coffee, cocoa, sugar, soybean, etc. Number two is hard commodities. These are natural resources that are mined or processed such as the crude oil, gold, silver, etc. Now, what do we mean by spot market? Spot market is a place where commodity is traded and the transfer of ownership takes place immediately. This concept is also called as ready delivery contract, under which payment and delivery of goods happen immediately. There are two variants of spot markets. One is the physical spot market and the other one is electronic spot market. Students, that was all about the commodity derivatives. Now, let us discuss the currency derivatives market. So, we will first discuss briefly about the history of the foreign exchange markets. The current currency rate mechanism has evolved over thousands of years in the world. Community trying with various mechanisms of facilitating the trade of goods and services. Initially, the trading of goods and services was by barter system, wherein goods were exchanged for each other. For example, a farmer would exchange wheat grown on his farmland with a cotton with another farmer. Such system has its own difficulties, primarily because of non-divisibility of certain goods, cost in transportation, such goods for trading and difficulty in valuing of services. For example, how does a dairy farmer exchange his cattle for few liters of edible oil or 1 kilogram of salt? The farmer has no way to divide the cattle. Similarly, suppose wheat is grown in one part of country and sugar is grown in another part of the country. The farmer has to travel long distance every time he has to exchange wheat for sugar. Therefore, the need to have a common medium of exchange resulted in the innovation of the money. People tried various commodities as the medium of exchange, ranging from food items to metals. Gradually, the metals became more prominent medium of exchange because of their ease of transportation. We can divide them, which is called divisibility, certainty of quantity and universal acceptance. People started using metal coins as medium of exchange. Amongst the metals, gold and silver coins were the most prominent, and finally gold coins became the standard means of exchange. The process of evolution of medium of exchange further progressed into development of paper currency. People would deposit gold, silver coins with banks and get a paper promised that value of that paper at any point of time would be equal to certain number of gold coins. This system of book entry of coins against the paper was start of the paper currency. Obviously, with time, countries started trading across borders and they realized that everything cannot be produced in each country, or cost of production of certain goods is cheaper in certain countries in comparison to other countries. The growth in international trade resulted in evolution of foreign exchange, that is value of one currency of one country versus value of currency of another country. Each country has its own brand alongside its flag. When money is branded, it is called currency. Whenever there is a cross-border trade, there is a need of exchange one brand of money for another, and this exchange of two currencies is called as foreign exchange, or simply forex, FX. The smooth functioning of international trade required a universally accepted foreign currency to settle the international trade and a way to balance the trade imbalances among the countries. This led to the question of determining relative value of two currencies. Different systems were tried in past to arrive at relative value of two currencies. The documented history suggests that sometime in 1870, countries agreed to value their currencies against the value of currency of another country, using gold as the benchmark for valuation. As per this process, central banks issue paper currency and hold equivalent amount of gold in their reserves. The value of each currency against another currency was derived from gold exchange rate. For example, if 1 unit of gold is valued at Indian rupee 10,000 and US dollar 500, then exchange rate of Indian versus US dollar would be 1 US dollar equivalent to 20 Indian national rupee. This mechanism of valuing currency was called as gold standard. With further growth in the international trade, changing political situations, world war, civil war, etc., and situations of deficit, surplus on trade account forced countries to shift from gold standard to floating exchange rates. The floating exchange regime, central banks' intervention was a popular tool to manage the value of currency to maintain the trade competitiveness of the country. Central bank would either buy or sell the local currency depending on the desired direction and value of local currency. During 1944-1971, countries adopted a system called as Bretton Woods system. This system was a blend of gold standard system and floating rate system. As a part of this system, all currencies were pegged to US dollar at a fixed rate and US dollar value was pegged to gold. The US guaranteed to other central banks that they can convert their currency into US dollar at any time, and US dollar value will be pegged to value of gold. Countries also agreed to maintain the exchange rate in the range of plus or minus 1% of the fixed parity with US dollar. With adoption of this system, US dollar became the dominant currency of the world. Finally, Bretton Woods system was suspended and countries adopted system of free floating or managed float method of valuing the currency. Developed countries gradually moved to a market determined exchange rate, and developing countries adopted either a system of pegged currency or a system of managed rate. In pegged system, the value of currency is pegged to another currency or a basket of currencies. The benefit of pegged currency is that it creates an environment of stability for foreign investors, as they know the value of their investment in the country at any point of time would be fixed. Although in long run it is difficult to maintain the peg, and ultimately the central bank may change the value of peg or move to a managed float or free float. In managed float, countries have control on flow of capital, and central bank's intervention is a common tool to contain sharp volatility and direction of currency movements. Major currency pairs. Let's discuss some of the major currency pairs. The most traded currency pairs in the world are called the majors. The list includes the following currencies: Euro, short form is EUR, US dollar, USD, Japanese yen, JPY, pound sterling, GBP, Australian dollar, AUD, Canadian dollar, CAD, and the Swiss francs, CHF. These currencies follow free floating method of valuation. Amongst these currencies, the most active currency pairs are Euro US dollar Japanese yen, GB pound US dollar, Australian dollar, US dollar, Canadian dollar, US dollar, and US dollar and CHF. Okay, students, let's discuss the overview of international currency markets. For currency markets, the concept of a 24-hour market has become a reality now. In financial centers around the world, business hours overlap. As some centers close, others open and then begin to trade. For example, UK and Europe opens during afternoon as per the Indian time, followed by the US, Australia, Japan, and then India opens. The market is most active when both US and Europe is open. In New York market, nearly 2/3 of the day's activity typically takes place in the morning hours. Activity normally becomes very slow in New York in the mid to late afternoon after European markets have closed and before the Tokyo, Hong Kong and Singapore markets have opened. Given this uneven flow of business around the clock, market participants often will respond less aggressively to an exchange rate development that occurs at a relatively inactive time of the day and will wait to see whether the development is confirmed when the major markets open. Some institutions pay little attention to development in less active markets. Nonetheless, the 24-hour market does provide a continuous real-time market assessment of the ebb and flow of influences and attitudes with respect to the traded currencies and an opportunity for the quick judgment of unexpected events. With many trades carrying pocket monitors, it has become relatively easy to stay in touch with market developments at all the time. With access to all of the foreign exchange markets generally open to participants from all countries, and with vast amount of market information transmitted simultaneously and almost instantly to dealers throughout the world, there is an enormous amount of cross-border foreign exchange trading among dealers as well as between dealers and their customers. As per the Bank of International Settlement (BIS) survey of April 2010, daily turnover of currency in the global market is approximately US dollar 3.9 trillion, making it the largest trading asset class. At any moment, the exchange rate of major currencies tend to be virtually identical in all financial centers where there is active trading. Rarely are there such substantial price differences among major centers as to provide major opportunities for arbitrage. In pricing, the various financial centers that are open for business and active at any point of time are effectively integrated into a single market. This is all for today, students. Hope you have understood. So, we'll meet in the next episode with a new topic. Till then, take care and goodbye.